one of these in a while, but I think it's time. We got these Jones cracking again. Get back to what we've been doing. As you can see, I mean DK has been eating. I just ain't been giving him any of his stats. Um, let's check in on our mid-season form. I guess these guys weren't playing anyway. So first thing first, I am seriously considering bringing back playing the CPU because I think a lot of people who get caught up in like 2-3 weeks where they can't play the CPU or can't play a game because of the few people who like abused CPU games. Mind you, I skipped the majority of mine, so I'm doing it literally for them. Um, I'm really considering bringing it back. We're gonna play off and see how that go the rest of the year. I'm gonna go ahead and say if you watch this whole live, um, I'll say at the end whether I feel like we're bringing it back or not. Um, I think we've been dying off with the fact that we're like kind of losing steam because of you want to thank Stan and John really for killing the CPU like game. Like I hate that cats come in and putting up like 100 and something points. Like that's not even realistic, man. That's just running a bunch of money plays over and over again. I mean, but either way, I'll think about that as I'm doing this live. Let's check up right now on the last couple weeks. I'm actually going to pull up a couple games that I thought were interesting over the last couple weeks. Let's start back in week 8. Kansas City versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. This was actually played. Stan and Khalil have been having their rivalry, but in I thought a very explosive offensive game. Um, Kansas City, kind of mopped the floor with this Jacksonville defense, holding Kyle Murray to only a 56.2 quarterback rating, 2 interceptions to 2 touchdowns, completion percentage of 40%. Oh my goodness. Patrick Mahomes went all 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Um, Kyle Murray was sacked 5 times despite his speed and arm strength, not even able to put up 170 yards on this defense, in which I've put up numerous big games. Rushing, of course, Damian Williams, whose stand just seems to always get rolling. 18 attempts, 126 rushing yards. Corey Grant, 11 attempts for 80 rushing yards, and Kyle Murray, who had 3 fumbles, 5 attempts for 58 yards. Defensively, let's go down the numbers. Sack wise, 2 sacks for D Ford. Terrell Lewis brings in one. Chris Jones brings in one. Telvin Smith and Tremon Smith's interception wise, Telvin Smith gets his one, but Dorian O'Daniel, a guy who Stan is infamous with playing, and Adoree Jackson, who was a surprise trade last year to Kansas City, still managing to come up with these interceptions. What are we looking at? So overall, in general, I just think, man, y'all, we started seeing a little pause in the league, and I mean, I've been asking Khalil, keep that same energy, man. Khalil, keep that same energy, bro. All season, you was popping hot shit when you was beating nobodies, and Stan still ain't really somebody, but he dogged you out and killed Kyler Murray. Oh, that was just atrocious, man. Another big game. That came down to the wire. The Eagles and the Bills, and the Bills felt as though they left a little bone on the meat here. Pause, no homo. But Carson Wentz, 99 quarterback rating. Josh Allen with an 85 quarterback rating. I mean, Josh Allen was willing and dealing out here. 242 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, while completing 56%. That's not great. But Carson Wentz with significantly less yards, but 72% of his passes were completed, a touchdown and an interception to go with him. On the ground, Bryce Love getting it done, 12 rushes for 81 yards and 2 touchdowns. Defensively, let's see how this game looked. Of course, I have a strong feeling. Yep, Ed Oliver. Ed Oliver with 2 sacks. I've heard that he was a monster. I actually faced him recently. Nigel Bradham with a sack. Jordan Hicks with a sack. Eagles were just getting it firing off from everywhere. And interceptions in this one. Avonte Maddox able to pull off 2. Don't try him. Don't do it. Don't do it. What other games were popping that week? This one, I mean, this one came down to a fair sim. I mean, it came down to a forced win for the Falcons because I don't know what was going on with Easy and his PlayStation membership. I don't know what was going on there. This week was a little upsetting. We only had one game played. I know a lot of them were CPU games, which is why I'm considering bringing back playing the CPU one time. But I think I gotta put in some rules where we gotta cap off how many points you can put up in that game. Because this week 9 was really upsetting for me for a lot of people not getting in and playing, even though like most of those games were CPU. This one I think came. No, where's the game that I was looking for? No, it's not this week. So it was last week. Okay. Last week. This one is the shocker. I was actually shocked looking at this game, being as though I know Ron is usually an offensive guy, and for him to get shut out, that was crazy. Jared Goff, 339 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Mitchell Trubisky, 141 yards, but 3 interceptions with no touchdowns to boot. Rushing wise, Jared Goff led all rushers with 50 rushing yards on 9 attempts. Todd Gurley, who doesn't get no burn, I don't know why, just 8 attempts, 26 yards, 1 touchdown. And defensively, this is where they ate. Sacks. Aaron Donald, monster game. 4 sacks with Khalil Mack right behind him with 3 interceptions. Mark Barron comes up with a pick. Kendall Sheffield comes up with a pick. Leonard Floyd comes up with a pick. Just like interceptions all over the place. Aqib Talib with a pick, and Troy Hill. I was just shocked, like, really, to see Ron couldn't get anything going in Chicago that game. That was mind-boggling. And then after being called out, this is the first time I actually am talking about one of my games. Because after being called out, like, I can't wait to face you, Buffalo Bills come to Baltimore and get stomped. I mean, stomped bad. Equal time of possessions. I mean, wasn't really forcing the issue, but this is where it really came down to it. 206 rushing yards to 146 passing yards. I mean, we literally were on the ground all game with him. I threw 2 interceptions that were just nasty. I'm not even going to lie. I was like annoyed at the interceptions that I threw, but 7 sacks and holding Josh Allen to no touchdowns and a 57.7 passer rating. Rushing wise, Gus Edwards, 17 on the ground, 126. As you can see, we dominated the rushing game. Almost 50 yards from Jay Ajayi, 36 from Lamar Jackson, a touchdown from Lamar, 2 from Gus, who's getting back rolling. Receiving wise, Jesse James killed me all game. I need to figure out exactly how the hell he figures to get this guy rolling the way he does. But Jesse James, monster game. 120 yards, but with 123 and only 3 receptions. DK Metcalf, Jordan Matthews with 82 receiving yards. Tywan Teller with 33 receiving yards. Yeah, the ball was just getting placed all over the place. We just limited our number of passes. I think we had 3, 4, 5 or 6 completed passes. Let me double check. Yep, only 5 and 9. 5 and 9, only 5 passes thrown. Completed this game. Defensively, this is where we really made our killing. Dante Hoven with 9 total tackles, 4 quarterback sacks, and an interception to boot. but he's not to be the only one. Matthew Judon with with 2 sacks himself. Jordan Poyer with his second interception. This guy, this sack was the most annoying sack I ever had. 'Cause I had somebody wide open in the end zone and literally just didn't see him until this guy was dragging me down. And then rookie phenom, Cleline Farrell. Got to double check him. I didn't pronounce his name, but he's actually been climbing the charts pretty quickly. This week, I am strongly interested in this game right here. The Thursday night 4:15 game. What is this? This got to be a Easter game. Yeah. So that means this must be an Easter game. Eagles versus the Cowboys, 2 undefeated teams. 2 completely undefeated teams. No forces there. We'll see how this one plays out. Who else is up here? I am actually interested in this one too because Amir, despite, Tevin, despite having a terrible record, actually does play some really good defense. From every game I've observed of his, he really plays good defense. It just, he makes some of the most atrocious offensive decisions ever. And, Kyrie actually does the same thing. Makes some atrocious offensive decisions, but plays great defense. So we're going to see how that one turns out. Let's look at the overall league standing right now. Hold on. Bada bing, bada boom. Make sure it's still working. Oh yeah, it look like it's working. Bet. Bada boom. Who jumped in the room? Let's look at our award race currently in the NFL. Lamar Jackson leads the MVP race. Patrick Mahomes closely behind him. Ezekiel Elliott undefeated in 3rd place. And Le'Veon Bell. This guy got like 5 running backs and won't trade one of them. You know what, man? Coach of the Year, Adam Gase. Again. Adam Gase. Again, I think he was Coach of the Year last year too. So, they're giving him some props for what he's doing over there. AFC Offensive Player of the Year looks like it's going to be Patrick Mahomes, unless DK can creep back up in there. Defensive Player of the Year, Dante Hoven, who's just having a monster season right now. Devin White is close, but no cigar. Not quite as good. Offensive Rookie of the Year, DK Metcalf. Kyler Murray in 2nd place. Those 2 losses are going to kill him. Travis Homer. I think if this is the quarterback, I'm thinking of. No. DeAndre Francois is the quarterback. So I got to find out who Travis Homer is. Might be a running back. But I know that team is definitely not doing great over there. Hopefully they make the playoffs. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Dante Hoven. Probably up in a landslide. We're going to look at the stats in a minute. See what he's been doing all season. Best quarterback, Lamar Jackson. Action Jackson. You know how we go. Melvin Gordon, even though they haven't been playing, I would love to see Thomas keep that energy he had last year. I would hate for somebody to, have a dominant year one year and then not be able to weather the storm of next year when people figure out the one trick that they were doing. That would be corny. Best wide receiver, DK Metcalf, Ronnie Stanley, Brian Burns. Ooh, I'm surprised because Cleveland Farrell has been balling, but we definitely want to see how this goes down. We'll check this one out in a little bit. Linebacker Devin White doing this thing in Jacksonville. Adoree Jackson looking like the best defensive back in the league. I'm hoping Dante Hoven can catch him, but he plays that linebacker safety spot pretty well. So we're going to see how that plays out. And best kicker, surprisingly, is not Justin Tucker. It's Jason Myers. Adrian Anderson, close second. In the NFC, was that my phone? Bada bing, bada boom. All right. In the NFC, Offensive Player of the Year, Le'Veon Bell, followed by Ezekiel Elliott and Dak Prescott. Aaron Donald, who's having a monster defensive year, but their team is 7-3. Followed by Bobby Wagner, Sidney Jones, and Anthony Brown. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Bryce Love, who I've been looking at his stats. He's been pretty good all year. Followed by Riley Ridley and Ryan Davis. Defensive Rookie of the Year, DeAndre Baker. Great talent over there with Marvel Tell the third and Montez Sweat, who I am sure I haven't been paying attention to him this year. I think everybody should pay attention because the dude got blazing speed. I know that. Definitely got blazing speed. Would like to see what his numbers look like. Best quarterback in the league in NFC looks like it's going to be Dak Prescott with Jared Goff in a close second. Drew Brees. Why did I say Andrew? Drew Brees and Kirk Cousins rounding it out. Best running back, Le'Veon Bell, Ezekiel Elliott, Matt Breida, Dalvin Cook. Ooh, they don't even have my man Bryce Love in the top. Best wide receiver, Devontae Adams, Philip Dorsett for the Computer Saints. Hopefully we can get either a new user or get Albert back in here sometime soon. Amari Cooper, Riley Ridley, round that out. Offensive lineman, Zach Martin. Defensive lineman, Aaron Donald. Those two are probably going to hold just because that's an overall position type winning. Can't really win that with a bad person. Bobby Wagner looks like he's going to win linebacker of the year, even though Mark Barron had a surprisingly good game against the Chicago Bears. Hopefully he can keep it up this week. Anthony Brown leading for best defensive back with Byron Jones also up there for best defensive back. And best kicker, Aldrick Rosas, whatever. Let's look at our league leaders. Pardon my code. It's 8 o'clock. I can go there. All right. Completion yards with 2,900 yards. Patrick Mahomes. I don't even got anybody up here. That's crazy. Lamar Jackson ain't even cracked. Yeah, we not playing for yards though. So, more power to them. Kyle Murray, second user up here with 2,800, 23 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Patrick Mahomes with 23 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Who leads the league in touchdowns? Lamar Jackson with 26 and 15 interceptions. Ew, that's a far cry from last year. We'll see how the season ends. Rushing wise, Ezekiel Elliott, first running back of this year to crack 1,000, crack a stack. Le'Veon Bell with a 981 yards. He'll definitely break 1,000 this week. Dalvin Cook very close to breaking 1,000 this year. Oh, here it is. Travis Homer, 171 attempts with 717 yards, 6 touchdowns. Ooh, he's actually having a really good season. And then tied with him, Gus Edwards, right under him, 717 yards. It's very rare you see that. Look at our touchdown leader, Le'Veon Bell, number 1. Ezekiel Elliott and Corey Grant tied for number 2. Bryce Love at number 3. And we got 3 guys tied for number 4. Saquon Barkley will look so much better in the Ravens uniform. G-Man, if you're watching this, come on, man. Let's make this happen. Fumbles. Let's look at fumbles. Kyle Murray leads the league in fumbles, followed by Baker Mayfield. And Travis Homer is the number 1 running back fumbler in the league. Yo, I mean, I expected it to be nothing but quarterbacks up here, but Travis Homer is actually like 1 fumble from leading the league in fumbles in a position that literally should be riddled with all quarterbacks. Receiving, DK Metcalf, definitely. I really don't even like the numbers I'm putting up with him because I spread the ball a lot more than it looks like. So, number 1 in receptions and yards. Woo. Touchdowns, probably by a landslide too. Yeah, up there in touchdowns too. Last game he didn't even have a touchdown, but I mean, still lead the league in touchdowns by 5 receptions. By the end of the year, somebody will catch him because my man Gus has been rolling. Defensive numbers this year. Total tackles, Quan Alexander leads the league with 3 more than his own teammate Jake Ryan. Yeah, computer teams just tackle more. They just get more tackles. I don't know what's up with that. Sacks. Aaron Donald leads the league in sacks with 19 and a half. Ooh, that is nasty. Dante Hoven in second place right now with 12 sacks. Brian Burns with 11 and a half. Khalil Mack with 10 and a half. Davion Clowney with 10. Ezekiel Ansah with 8.5. Damian Harris, 2 back-to-back teammates. That's a good one. Joey Bosa with 8. I feel like I'm missing somebody. Currently in the league, interceptions. Anthony Brown, Sidney Jones. Ooh, a lot of picks. A lot of guys who are in the same realm of interceptions right now. To look up and down to these guys. Got everything from linebackers to cornerbacks and safeties all getting in on the big numbers of interceptions. And finally, I want to see who leads the league in forced fumbles. Pretty sure it's, Roquan Smith and Bobby Wagner tied with 4 forced fumbles apiece. Good games from them. So I am going to say I will allow CPU games for the rest of the season unless somebody really runs up the score. If somebody does really run the bag up on the computer, I'm going to leave it to their discretion. But if somebody runs the score up on the computer, then I'll cut it off again. So only way you'll know I changed that rule is if you actually watch this live. I take the time out to do the live, so god damn it, y'all should be watching it. And we're gonna rock with it like that. So I'll get back to the new updates every week. I'll definitely try to get it every advance or at least at night. Just sometimes people play like as soon as we advance, and that throws things off. The challenge this week. That's the last thing I need to talk about. So the challenge this week is offensively, if you can have a perfect QBR, I will give your quarterback 5 skill points to use wherever you want besides acceleration and speed. Perfect. 158.3. Perfect QBR. I will give you 5 points. Win, lose, or draw. It does not matter. I mean, but of course you want to win because you want to make the playoffs. But defensively, I will give everyone in your secondary. That's your cornerbacks. No, I'm sorry. That might be too much. I will give your starting secondary, or I do everybody. I mean, because it's only 3. So I will give everybody in your secondary plus 3 to anything. I mean, 3 skill points that you can use at your own disposal, anywhere except for speed and acceleration. With that being said, you need to hold the opposing quarterback under 45% completion, which means if they have 45, you lost. You know what I mean? They met at least the bare minimum. Under 45 completion percentage, and you get plus 3 to everyone in your secondary on anything besides speed and acceleration. You guys let me know. Let's get this thing active again. I should have somebody join in as the Patriots today. Let's get it.